What's up guys, Nick True here, and today I want to teach you exactly how to create a budget. Now this will work whether you're using cash and envelopes or pen and paper or an Excel spreadsheet or even a budgeting app like YNAB to do it. Specifically, we're going to talk about zero-based budgeting, why it's so powerful, how to implement it, and one specific habit that if you can consistently work into your budgeting routine, you will absolutely level up your financial life. Okay. So why do you need a budget? Well, let me put it this way. Can we both agree that to get big things in life, you're going to have to save for them? Whether it's a nice retirement, a new career, an awesome place to live, or even just a decent vacation, like all of that costs money, and it costs more than just 1 month of income. But the vast majority of people live paycheck to paycheck and don't have any money left over at the end of the month to save. And if that's you, living paycheck to paycheck, you're never going to be able to reach those big dreams that you have. That's where the budget comes in. But see, budget is a really terrible word. It has such a negative connotation to it. People think of the budget as being something that's restrictive. It's funny because even when we use words describing people who are on a budget, like tightwad, it's a word that physically has like a restraining sound. We think of budgeting as something that limits our complete freedom that we have when we aren't budgeting. But actually, it's just the opposite. A budget doesn't take away your freedom. In fact, it gives you freedom. 'Cause I'm as free as bird. It gives you freedom to do the things that you value the most. If we take away the word budget altogether and instead replace it with the word plan, it gets a lot clearer as to why you need one. Now, let's be clear. Budgeting is not the same as simply tracking your money. Tracking is important, yes, but it's not the same as creating a proactive plan. That's why I like budgeting apps like YNAB way better than I like Mint. Mint is not a budgeting tool, it's a tracking tool. Think about it this way. When you get in a car to go on a road trip, you use your phone as a GPS to figure out your current location. That's sort of like tracking your finances. In the same way that a GPS shows you where you're currently located, tracking also shows you your current situation in regards to your money. And that's important, like you need that. You have to know where you're currently at, but it's not enough. If you're trying to get to a specific city and all you have is a GPS showing you your current spot, you're not gonna be able to get there. That's why you need a map. You need a route to show you where to go based on your current location. Tracking is not enough. You actually have to map out your money. See what I did there? Here's the deal. Most of us think that if we could just increase our income, if we could just get more money, then things will be good. But in reality, this isn't true. If you can't manage what you have now with a small amount, what makes you think you're gonna be able to manage a larger amount well? If you couldn't be responsible with small tasks at your work, would it be wise for your boss to all of a sudden start giving you larger tasks? No, of course not. You need to master what you already have, and then you can take on more when you're ready. Budgeting and making a plan with your money is the foundation for everything. Once you nail this, you'll gain more control over your finances and a lot more confidence with your money. Then you can move on to increasing your income and living your adventure. All right, so how do you actually create this thing? Well, the budgeting style that I use is called zero-based budgeting. Now, I didn't make this up. It's very well documented. Why? Because it works. In this style of budgeting, you're gonna make a plan with every single dollar that you have. Now, I'll put a link above to all the different types of budgeting styles out there, but this is the one that I like to use, and it's the one that I recommend for most people. Basically, you just take your income and then subtract out all of your planned expenses and savings, and the bottom line should equal zero. This just means you've given every single dollar a job, as a YNAB person might say. Remember, this is more than just tracking your money from where it came in to where it went. This is making a plan with your money. So how do you do it? Well, whether you're using envelopes or Excel or a notepad or a budgeting app, the underlying steps for the process is basically the same. First, you need to categorize your spending by putting all of your different transactions into different groups. Let's go over the overarching groups that I like to use. The first group I have is fixed expenses. Now, this is going to be anything that is reoccurring and basically has the same price month to month. Things like rent, utilities, internet, Netflix, phone bill, all those things that are the same bill on the same day every single month go into fixed. The next group I do is living expenses. Now for me, these are just things that are day to day. It's not fun stuff necessarily, it's just the stuff that we buy to live. Things like groceries, pet expenses, gas, household items, clothing, all that stuff that you do every single day, day in and day out. The next group that I have are long-term expenses. Now these are things that I know I'm going to have to spend money on, but don't necessarily happen every single month. This is gonna be things like car insurance if you don't pay it monthly, but you pay like a 6-month or a year-long premium. This would also include things like car maintenance and home maintenance, and you can also do things like Christmas spending in here as well, and start saving for Christmas every single month rather than trying to do it all in November and December. Anything that is a true expense that doesn't get done on a monthly basis goes here. Another category you want to keep track of is your giving. While I do encourage you to give no matter what stage of your finances that you're in, and I think you'd be surprised at what starts happening when you give and kind of the gratefulness that it brings up in your own life. I understand that not everybody does that, but you are probably giving for birthdays and holidays and Mother's Day and Father's Day and things of that nature. So at the very least, you should be adding a little bit of money every single month to be able to buy gifts when things like that roll around. The next group is fun spending, and this is going to be anything that you don't have to live your life, but is just purely for fun. For me and Hannah, that typically looks like date nights and eating out and lots of coffee shops for us. Now, in addition to that, we also both get spending money. Hannah and I both get the same amount each every single month, and this allows us to be able to spend freely on something that we want. As long as we've still got money left in our individual spending budget, then we can spend it guilt-free without asking the other person about it or worrying about what they might think. It's really important to have free spending money built into the budget because it gives you a certain level of independence, and again, it goes back to what I said earlier, which is budgets are supposed to help you feel free, not feel restricted. When you plan to spend money on whatever it is that you want any given time, then when you actually go to spend that money on the stuff that you want, it feels good because you don't feel guilty about buying something knowing that you're racking up credit card debt or maybe you really should be saving because it's already planned, it's in the budget, it's part of it. That is fun, that is freedom. Okay, so another category that we have is savings. Now this is different than that long-term expenses I talked about earlier. Although you're technically saving for your long-term car insurance, it's not necessarily fun. Savings are typically fun things that you're saving up for, things that you really want. It could be big things like saving for a down payment on a house, or really small things like getting a new bag or backpack, or kind of a medium thing like going on a nice vacation with the family. Back to what I said earlier, if you want to accomplish those big dreams that you have to actually save for them. So savings, of course, have to be a category. All right, another category is emergency savings. Now again, I keep this separate from long-term expenses and also separate from my normal savings. The biggest reason that I keep it separate is because I've noticed for me that if I start lumping in all of my big savings with my emergency money, it becomes really tempting to kind of take from that emergency money and use it for something else. When I see all of that lumped together, I start feeling pretty good. I look at the account and I'm like, wow, okay, I got some money in there. I can do something, or maybe I can lax up on the budget elsewhere. So that's why it's really important to keep that emergency money separate and dedicated to just emergencies only. All right, now the last category I want to hit on is monthly unexpected expenses. You might also call this miscellaneous. This is to capture all those things that you didn't think about or plan for earlier. Some sort of fee or expense came in that you had totally forgotten about. Maybe you got pulled over on the interstate driving too fast and got a ticket. Whatever those things are, the things that always seem to happen, no matter how hard we try to think of everything, there always seems to be unexpected things that come up. That's why you want to expect the unexpected by planning for it in your budget. Okay, so your categories may be different than mine, but that gives you a good idea, overall picture of the different types of categories that you should be thinking about for your budget. Now, depending on the type of budget you want to use, you can go as broad or as small with all these categories as you want. I've seen people get super drilled down when they're using tools like YNAB or an Excel spreadsheet and go into every little detail possible with their categories. If you're kind of nerdy and really into tracking every single little thing and looking at your reports at the end of the month and you really want to know where all of your dollars went easily, then by all means do it that way. I personally lean kind of more this way, but I recognize that's not for everybody. That's why I encourage you to keep your categories really, really broad at first. You can always get more refined over time, but I found that if you start really honed in and super detailed, you're probably gonna get fed up with all the work required to maintain that type of a budget and eventually just stop budgeting altogether. So start slow with only a few high-level categories. I've seen people be really successful starting with just simply 4 main categories. The 4 categories that they do are savings, giving, fixed, and other. Basically, they make sure that they're hitting their savings or debt pay down goals, they do their giving, they pay their bills, and then they just live on what's left over. This is a fantastic way to start, and probably what I encourage most people to do when they're creating their first budget. Over the course of a few months of doing it with just those 4 categories, you can eventually start taking the other and the fixed category and break them up to get a little more detailed if you like. So once you've got your category set up, you look at your income and see how much money you've got to work with. And then you start taking those dollars and you start assigning them to all your different categories. And then when you're ready and you've assigned every single dollar a job, you know exactly how much money you have planned to spend in every single category for the month. This is what I mean when I keep using the word plan. Tracking your money says, let me look at my report and see where all my money went last month, and then maybe I should make a change. Planning with your money says, before I even spend the money, what do I really want? What do I really want to make happen? Let me go ahead and assign dollars to that category, and then I'll stick to it. And I'll make sure on the front end that I'm doing the things necessary to get where I want to go. Now, the cool thing about zero-based budgeting is that although you assign every single dollar a job by going to a specific category, if you need to move money from one category to another, you can. It's totally flexible. If you're an envelope budgeter, God bless you, you can take the cash physically from one envelope to another envelope. If you're running low on grocery money that month, you can borrow some money out of clothing money and put it into the grocery budget. That's what makes this budgeting system so flexible, because it recognizes that not every single month is going to be the same. You're going to have some ebbs and flows just because of life. And so you need to be able to move money easily from one place to another when things happen. Now, if you'd like to watch a super in-depth video on how to use YNAB specifically, which is the budgeting app that I use, I'll link that above and down in the description below, and this will take you step by step to setting up a budget in that tool. Okay, so once you've assessed your situation and set up your initial budget with your categories and how much money is in each category, the next step is to start cutting your spending to get you closer to the long-term goals that you have. When I set up my budget, the first thing I do is I look at my savings and my giving, make sure I've got those things in place. Then I make sure that all my fixed bills are gonna get paid so I don't have creditors calling me. I make sure I get all those done on time. Then I start budgeting what's left over and how I'm gonna use the rest of the money. If you don't do savings, giving, and bills first, if you don't take care of that stuff initially, the problem is you're gonna spend all the money on the other category, all that other stuff, and you're gonna get to the end of the month and you're gonna barely be able to pay your bills. You're not gonna have given anything, and of course you're not gonna have saved anything. That's what the majority of people are living like today, which is what keeps them in that paycheck to paycheck cycle. So once you've kind of laid out that order of things, savings and giving, fixed bills, everything else, the next thing is to look at that everything else category and start honing in on your problem areas. Figure out where you consistently spend a lot of money. Is it eating out? Is it clothes? Is it weekend adventures with friends? Like, what area are you consistently overspending? This is where your focus needs to be. Now, let's be clear. If your life is great and you're happy with your financial situation right now, well, I don't even know why you're watching this video. Go do something else. There's no reason you should be here. If you're watching this, that means that you're not happy with your financial situation and you want something to change. And guess what? You're not gonna get anything different than what you've always gotten if you don't do something different than what you've always done. Think about an Olympic athlete for a second. Do you think that they get where they wanna go without making sacrifices along the way? No, of course not. They gave up free time with friends to train. They gave up going to parties to sleep. They gave up tasty foods for food that fuels their body. They made huge sacrifices to achieve what they've achieved. That's how life works. But the cool thing that happens when you get super clear on what it is that you actually want, whether it's a house or travel or even just the peace of mind and lack of stress that comes with being financially comfortable, is that all those sacrifices get way, way easier to make. In fact, these sacrifices eventually stop feeling like sacrifices at all. Actually, I got a comment from a subscriber who watches a lot of these videos, and let me just read it to you. Carrie's awesome, her and her husband are rocking their finances. Let me tell you what she said. Playing it forward helps a lot with spending, I think. If you have a goal that you really want to reach, it's not hard to do without to get there. Most of the things that we cut out didn't bring us that much joy. They were just habits or routines that we were used to doing. Seeing us get to these goals is so much more rewarded than any of the spending we were doing. Carrie hit the nail on the head here. Yeah, you gotta make sacrifices. You gotta stop spending money in order to get to those goals that you have. But once you really get the ball rolling, then the spending doesn't even become that big a deal anymore. So we know we need to budget, and now we know the basics of setting one up. What's that one habit that we need to do that will take it to the next level? Here it is. Consistency. If you want this budget to work for you, you cannot set it and forget it. You have to stay consistent. Do not think for 1 second that you can update the budget once a month and you'll be good to go. No. That's way too long in between for you to actually stick to it. At a bare minimum, you need to be updating a budget and making sure all of your transactions are there and accounted for once a week. This will help you keep everything top of mind and actually keep you on track. My preference though is actually that you use an app that stays on your phone and you can just enter the transactions as they happen. Whenever I buy something, I literally enter the transaction right then and there. It takes less than 30 seconds. If it's online, great, I'm already on my phone probably anyways, just add it then. If I'm at a store, I just enter the transaction as I'm walking to the parking lot. When you do it this way, the budget always stays up to date, plus it makes it to where Hannah and I always have the most up-to-date information. If one of us is over here and the other one's over there, or we're out of town in different cities, and we're both good about entering the transactions as they happen, we both know exactly how much is left in each category all the time. So figure out what it looks like to keep consistent with the budget, whether it's as the transaction happen or at least once a week, and then at a minimum once a month, plan to sit down with the budget just in general and review how are things going and do you need to make any big overarching changes. All right, so that's it guys. That's why you need a budget, how to create one, and why being consistent will take you to the next level. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like it. And remember, I can teach you how to budget, but I can't make you do it. The choice is yours. I'll see y'all next time.